this path of bhakti, when you're in Vrindavan, when you're in Govardhan, it's kind of like there's so much detail, so much beautiful detail in the theology and in the faith.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like in a bombed out zone a little bit too, just
It's a little
because
bummed out.
yeah, just because of the Mughal invasions and the knocking over of temples and then just the crushing of the economy and so on,
British coming in and then taking off.
taking all the riches. Yeah, it just so in many ways it still hasn't recovered from that, but you have the most but
It's got good bones.
yeah, everywhere you look, it's just like there's ornate,
Yeah.
not just ornate beauty, but ornate beauty with like this connection to bhakti that's so deep and so
Sure.
personal and so beautiful that you just walk past the bombed out part and you maybe some people have trouble walking past the bombed out part, but if you can, suddenly just like the most beautiful aspect of life is revealed.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Govardhan Hill. This is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kostubadas. Welcome to Govardhan Hill, everyone. This is episode 1457. It's October 31st.
Halloween.
Auspicious Kartik. Not inauspicious Halloween, but yes, it is Halloween.
Auspicious Diwali over here.
It's Diwali, yeah. And we're here live with the crew, including our favorites, Banu Nandini, Janeshwar, Amarananda, Bhakti Udi, and Braja Radha Sundari.
Tardas.
Braja Sundari Radha.
Tardas.
Oh, and Tara's back here too. We got the whole
What
posse
a
here.
incredible list of
I know.
exalted.
There are
Vice
Wisdom of Sages pilgrimages just ended, and had incredible lunch, and we just went off for like a secret meeting with old Uddhav Baba.
Nice.
I can't even tell you what happened.
Okay, we don't have to.
It's top secret.
All right.
It's top secret. But
But I'm going to tell you anyway.
he gave me a secret sadhana.
But don't tell us about it.
I'm not allowed to.
All right.
But I will say this.
No, don't.
8
It's better
years
that you
ago, he also gave me a secret sadhana.
don't. All right.
And then he saw me again. He goes, I have something for you.
Was it the same?
Huh?
Was it
no,
same?
slightly different.
Okay. Did you follow the last one?
Not every day, but I did it. I still do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
But then it was, I can't get into it, but
No, you don't. How many times are you going to tell us that you can't tell us this? But
just things kept
you're
on
just
clicking,
dying to
one
tell
after-
us.
I am. I can't keep secrets. But you're not allowed to tell secret sadhanas. But all I can say is, as soon as
Maybe
he
you should
said
have
it,
asked for a non-secret one.
as soon as he said it, this is an 84-year-old Bubba who grew up on Govardhan Hill,
Okay.
by the side of Govardhan Hill. He met Prabhupada when he was 4 years old,
Wow.
and Prabhupada was a Grihasta. Prabhupada gave him some beads, 27 rounds, and joked with him. He goes, "Oh, you're chanting so much quicker than me." And then he gave us darshan of the beads.
Okay.
And then he said, that caught your attention. Now you're all listening. Now you want to know the secret side, but I can't tell. But right when he told me,
It's like
Banu Nandini said, I can't believe he said this. I've got something for you. And she pulled out a book, a secretive book that has something exactly to do with the sadhana.
okay.
And then he took the book, put it to his head, opened it, and pointed to it and started explaining it. And then we took it and gave me that book. That's all I can say.
You didn't even have to say that.
I can't say anymore.
Okay. You seem tortured. You want it to be secret, or it's not nearly as special, but you're dying to tell everybody it so you can share how special it is.
You think I'm exaggerating? Talk to Janeshwar. He'll tell you.
No, I don't think you're exaggerating at all.
I'm not asking you to tell him Janeshwar, but I'm just saying it was secret.
We understand that it was secret.
Oh, and not only that, that's where Wisdom of Sages Super Soul Sacred Sangha started from his living room. We told him that because when we were in there, when I say living room, these Indian houses, it's just simple open place with a bed on it.
Okay.
But that's where we were sitting down and he was talking to us. And then Leela
Leela
Belasini
Belasini.
started lecturing us the importance of hearing the Bhagavatam every day.
Very important.
Started there. We got home and we started reading the Bhagavatam every day, right, Mara?
All right.
All right.
Thank you for sharing
what a
sharing
day.
as much as you could.
Sharing. We went to Govardhan Hill today. We read. We went to the ISKCON Palace. Super cool palace.
Oh,
Want to
yeah.
share something about the palace?
Well, it was a palace of. I don't remember where the king was. Do you remember where the king was from?
No.
When we say palace, it's regal, but it's simple,
Yeah.
right? It's like real thick walled. It's kind of it has a subtle ornamentation of like a lot of that Rajasthani style stuff, but
Yeah.
it's kind of minimal,
Yeah.
but it has a great feel to it, and it's got a kind of an open courtyard, rooms all around. You can go up to the upper floors and you can see Govardhan, just such a beautiful view.
It's the king's private chanting spot.
Yeah,
Imagine if
it's-
you had a
it's like his
private
getaway.
chanting spot where you
Yeah.
can just look at Govardhan and just chant.
Yeah, it's like when you want to get away from ruling and you have all these responsibilities. So then how would they get here? When was it established? Do you know when it was built?
It's probably 16 or 1700.
That far back? So then they rode horses out here, rode in carriages, and then
Yeah.
he would probably want to spend some time and forget about, he's probably got some ministers and some military people in place, and he's just going to come out here and think about Krishna.
Did we have the show yesterday?
No, we didn't.
We were at, we didn't tell about yesterday.
No, we can.
That was incredible yesterday.
Yeah.
You saw my Instagram live.
Yeah.
We were in another palace of a king that was being refurbished by the people
Well,
from Mandala.
that's when you think palace. That's more that case you got palace of the king of Bardpur case you got. That's iconic architecture. Whenever you see Vrindavan, commonly you see that palace. And our friends have kind of taken. I guess a long time ago they got the property, but they're trying to refurbish the entire thing and establish a museum of Krishna Bhakti there.
Mm.
In wonderful projects. I was thinking this path of bhakti, when you're in Vrindavan, when you're in Govardhan, it's kind of like there's so much detail, so much beautiful detail in the theology and in the faith.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like in a bombed out zone a little bit too, just
It's a little
because.
bummed out.
Yeah, just because of the Mughal invasions and the knocking over of temples, and then just the crushing of the economy and so on.
British coming in and then taking off.
Taking all the riches. Yeah, it just so in many ways it still hasn't recovered from that. But you have the most. But
It's got good bones.
yeah, everywhere you look, it's just like there's ornate,
Yeah.
not just ornate beauty, but ornate beauty with like this connection to bhakti that's so deep and so
Sure.
personal and so beautiful that you just walk past the bombed out part, and maybe some people have trouble walking past the bombed out part, but if you can, suddenly just like the most beautiful aspect of life is revealed, and it's so touching.
You're right. Even though it's like it's not like we just like old buildings, which we like. There's a charm to old buildings, but it's an old charming building connected to Lord Krishna.
Yeah.
And so you walk by them, and the path we went on yesterday was nice because it was sort of off the beaten trail.
Yeah.
But it was one charming ashram.
little
All
nook,
you have to do is
yeah.
stop, peek your head in a doorway, and there are these havelis. They're like, how the Pentagon is 5-sided with open in the center. It's like that, 4-sided, open in the center, so the wind can go through and keep them cool. And there are these charming little temples built like that all over Vrindavan.
Yeah.
And they just get passed down, perhaps built by some wealthy king or landholder, and the deities were worshipped. And over the generations, they just they start to crumble. They're not maintained. The people who live there have no wealth. And they're not
Sometimes they're
squatters.
restored and really
Yeah.
beautifully.
They're not squatters. They're probably just descendants
Yeah.
who were just become poor. But you peek in, you're like, oh my God, what we could do with this on a save a weekend. Put this thing together. I think save a weekends. We go there, zip it up, get some big construction bags, throw out garbage, rake things, plant things.
Yeah.
But some of them are breathtaking, including the Puri Maharaj temple we went yesterday. Oh my God, what a beautiful temple that is.
Beautiful temple. Yeah.
Trees and creepers growing inside the Haveli. Beautiful worship, an incredible Bengali feast they served us.
Yeah, I thought that was really nice for all the people on the pilgrimage, because you went to Udaipur, you went to Rishikesh, you came down, and like most of their meals were like in restaurants. But to be able to get, they got the authentic ashram, Bengali ashram, Vaishnava experience there. In the way the food itself, the way it was cooked, the way it was offered, obviously, the way it was served, the setting in which it was served, everything was straight out of the tradition of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, right out of the authentic Bengali Gaudiya Vaishnava feel. And so they got a real good taste of that. And it was that is in itself is, you know, it's such a rich life experience.
Yeah. In that case she got, this is where Prabhupada went before the Krishna Balaram temple was built, and all the devotees lived in it. If you read the book Vrindavan Days by Haryagriva, the devotees were living in Keshigat, and they were thinking they were going to get it from the king. And then I think there was a fallout with the king of Bharti.
Yeah.
It slipped up with just a misunderstanding. The Maharaj sent a beautiful silver swing,
Yeah.
because in India they take the deities off the altar for 5 days, years, and they put the deities out and swing them. So he sent a gift. This Maharaj is still around, still existed in a neighboring neighboring Rajasthani kingdom. Sent it as a gift. God, it must have. Who knows how much this thing
Pure
must have
silver,
worth?
probably.
Pure silver, a giant swing for the deities. And one of the devotees there, they delivering, and he had to sign for it. And he goes, well, I don't want to sign for it. I'll get in trouble maybe by Prabhupada. So he didn't sign for it, and they took it back. And the king took it as an insult. I've given you a gift, and you won't accept our gift. You think you're better than me? And Prabhupada got so angry with him, chastised him so hard. And they said, Prabhupada, don't worry. We'll go to the king personally, and we'll get that swing back. And they literally went to the kingdom, and they banging on the kingdom door, and the king, they just saw a Rolls Royce flying out of the driveway, and they tried to chase the Rolls Royce, and they couldn't catch up with him. He just put it in hyperdrive. So they didn't get the case you got. They could have probably,
Wow.
but we built the Krishna Balaram temple.
Yeah.
And when I say we, I mean I had nothing to do with it.
All right. All along, there's been this one verse in my mind, a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, that, so many people, like people in the West, they were fortunate that the wisdom of the East has come to the West, and people, maybe not everybody, but so many people get the opportunity to think about life in a different way. Hear from these ancient texts, usually within the popular Western culture, it's always been presented from the what we would call the impersonal point of view, right? Like the point of view, like where we're being encouraged to understand the self, to let go of our false conceptions about who we are, that we're not this body and these temporary identities that we embrace, that even the mind is not us, that we are the observer that's seeing through the mind and seeing through the senses. Try to feel the nature of your own self. Try to feel the bliss that is your true nature. That kind of teachings, it's all truth, and it's incredibly liberating truth, and it can release one from so much pain and suffering, and it can elevate one so high. It's very special. But what Krishna teaches in the Bhagavad Gita is that all of that, we could call it Vedanta, but beyond that, there's this confidential knowledge, right? There's this special knowledge that has to do with understanding that beyond all that, there's an experience of divine love, that there's a divine being beyond all that. If our heart and our mind have any kind of resentment or animosity or any kind of issues, it's hard for us to embrace that part of these teachings. But if we're open then it just opens up an incredibly beautiful world. And there's this verse where, you know, when Vyas, he wrote all these texts and he's somehow feeling despondent. He's wondering why. And his guru Narada comes and tells him, and he says this verse where he says, you know, you've done so well. You've written the Vedas, you've written the Upanishads, you wrote the Mahabharata, and what a gift that is, you know, because the Mahabharata is like just available to everyone. You know, it just took the wisdom to the people in such a broad way. And he said, but still, you haven't emphasized that very beautiful, sacred, uh, personal aspect
Mm.
of spiritual life. And people need to hear that, and
Yeah.
that's why you're feeling that way. And he says this verse. It's just the language is interesting. Prabhupada translates it. This is Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.12, and Prabhupada translates it like this: knowledge of self-realization, even though free from all material affinity, does not look well if devoid of the conception of the infallible God, like the personal conception of God. And he says it does not look well. Really, the Sanskrit for that is nashobate. In other words, like there's no beauty in it. You know, there's from the perspective of Narada, who has whose heart is melted with love for the personal form of God in all its beautiful detail. To think of being released from the engagement of the material energy without
Mm.
that the personal, beautiful, divine, loving aspect of transcendence, he says there's no beauty in that. You know, and when you come to Vrindavan, that beauty is just everywhere you look. You just can't turn around without you know, encountering that beauty. And again, commonly we're finding it, you know, next to a you know, a polluted puddle of you know, of half sewage or something, you know, or a crumbling building, you know, you know, heavy traffic and honking, or something like that. So
It's
it's
a gift
coming away.
actually because you're forced to look even deeper. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
But
like
when
trying
you
to be a
find it,
devotee in the middle of nowhere. You're
yeah,
forced to like, I gotta get a little bit more focused.
yeah, but it's right there, you know.
Mm.
We also went to the Krishna Balaram temple in the evening for the
Mm.
sing the Damodarastika prayers, which is like the song of the month to Krishna.
Song of the month. That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's so packed out there. Um, Such devotional enthusiasm there. And in some sense, you know, that was kind of the end of our trip, was to go there. And what a wonderful way to end up at Prabhupada's feet, the temple that is just a manifestation of his own heart. And wow, the beauty of that temple is just
You know, Prabhupada
so
really laid it down. He set up the gold standard for how to build a temple, how to worship in a temple, how the deity should look in a temple. Some people say, well, you know, there's so many other temples. Prabhupada's, it's the gold standard.
it really
You
is.
can't just
Yeah.
going into that temple is so breathtaking.
Yeah.
Um, we also went to Vamsi Gopal.
Oh, Vangsi Gopal
Vamsi
Temple, which
Gopal.
is one of the Havelis that you were talking about, almost like just hidden.
Hidden secret gems. Prabhupada, when he first left family life, before he was a sannyas, he went there to write. And he rented it out for something like
Oh, no.
15 rupees
A
a
month
month or something like that. And we got to go into his rooms and pray, have our closing there.
It was great.
Special. I have never been there.
I'd never been there either, and for me, it was just blown my, because you're up high, and the rooms overlook the Yamuna River, and you get this kind of a bit of a skyline view of
Yeah.
Vrindavan. And I was just sitting there. I shared this, but I was just feeling like I around the corner, literally just around the corner from my apartment in on the Upper West Side, New York, is a place where Srila Prabhupada came right after he left Vrindavan, right? And he struggled
Right.
there alone
He went from Vrindavan to right near where
to
you
the Upper
live.
West Side.
And you,
I took off from the Upper West Side and came right to where he started from.
so you're saying you're like,
I'm going
Prabhupada.
backwards. No, I'm saying I'm going the exact opposite
No.
direction once. But no, but just the fact that, you know, he landed right in a place that I know so well.
Right.
But that he was sitting on the spot that we were sitting and meditating on an order that he got from his guru something like 45 years earlier to take this incredibly rich spiritual culture to the West. And he did it.
You just did
You
it.
know, he made it happen. And to this day, now you go to Vrindavan and it's, you walk into his temple and it's incredibly packed out, because
We were-
people from all around the world have caught on to Bhakti and
Me
they're
and
catching on
Kastuba
more
were
and more.
having our final meal yesterday. And everyone's eating. We sort of stand up and he does a lap one way around the temple of the restaurant. I do a lap the other way. And we both end up at the back place. And we looked at each other, we're like, we don't know anybody here.
Yeah, that's right.
We used to know everybody here.
If we would have walked around the restaurant, every single table, we would have known who it
Hey, Raghunath, hey, Kastuba, hey, Raghunath, hey, Kastuba. We know anybody.
Yeah,
And it's like there's so many devotees now.
yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And all the devotees that we know are doing like what we're doing. They're kind of more in the outskirts in Govardhan or different places like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Things
oh,
change. All right.
what a day.
You want to
What a day.
You want to do Bhagavatam?
And there's more coming.
So always more.
There's more coming.
Tomorrow's Govardhan Puja.
No, day after.
Day after.
We're
Oh, tomorrow.
meeting with Unjuna Swami.
Or we meet with Indrajuna Swami.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
I gotta go and go over on Prikram in the morning. What about you?
You want to do that in the morning beforehand?
I think so.
The whole thing?
No. Doing half Prikrams.
I'm not a half guy,
Well,
I'm
you
just-
go all the way. I encourage you. If not,
Well, if we
bless
leave
you.
early
Bless you.
enough, it could be done. Yeah. And maybe I'll leave at 6, be back by 10. We leave at 2.
Yeah.
We need to be
You gotta go
there by
early.
12.
You
We need
gotta
to
go
leave by
early.
11. Well, whatever. It's any possible. All these are possible. All these things.
Oh.
All right. Do you want to get into Bhagavatam? Is that a
Yeah.
hint of Mara?
Yeah.
For the Bhagavad- How-
Ryan.
Oh, are there any announcements
Ryan.
for Mara today?
Ryan.
Quick thing. Well, I don't think we're gonna have a show on Saturday. We'll have a show tomorrow at 7 a.m. Eastern. How normal.
7 a.m. Eastern time.
And then
What time is that?
4:30 here.
Were we going to be back here by then?
We will.
Because we're going to Vrindavan tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Take a deep breath. You just. there you
I
go.
just came back from mystical experience.
I know you did.
With an 84-year-old Bridge Bossy.
And I know you got secrets there that you can't share with us, but you can share this much.
Can't.
So there'll be no show Saturday. We're gonna try to see if we might be able to squeeze something in on Sunday. We'll get back to you on that. Okay.
What's Sunday?
Don't worry about it right now. Okay.
Ryan Namaskrityanam Shaiva Rotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam. Before he started the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayeshva Badreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. By regular attendance at classes in the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya
Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer obeisances at the lotus feet.
Reading today from.
That prayer means a lot to me today.
Okay. Can you share why?
No, I can't.
Okay.
But it means more than you'll know.
Right. And that's important to you? Ooh, what has just happened?
Okay, reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 8, Text 38. That's auspicious.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Maybe we should go back to 37.
Oh.
Let's go back to 37. That's also auspicious. Yeah. Because I guess you definitely need a recap, right? The churning of the ocean of milk.
Bless you, Miss Mara.
One more time. Let it go.
How can we say bless you for sneezing but not coughs? Did we say that yet on the show?
I don't know. Let's focus.
Let's get serious
Yeah,
now.
we're gonna do this.
Stu.
So the churning of the ocean milk has been a huge adventure, a huge challenge, a massive endeavor. There's been ups and downs in it, for the devas, for them to work with the demons, and then to go through all these struggles, it's kind of like a total mind game to them in a sense. Sometimes this world will put us through a crazy mind game like that. They're trying to hold on to the instruction that they got from uh, from Lord Narayan, from Lord Vishnu, that trust me, right? Work with your enemies, and I'll be there for you. Even if it doesn't make any sense, even if it doesn't make any material sense, it's the right thing to do. You stick it out, and they stuck it out till the end. And in the end was this incredible vision where an avatar of Lord Vishnu arose out of the ocean. He was like stunning to see. He was like this young, beautiful avatar who held in his beautiful hands this beautiful pot of the nectar, which was like in a sense, like almost like the potion, the magic potion that they were endeavoring to get, with the hopes that that would rejuvenate us in such a way that we could regain control of the universal affairs on behalf of Lord Vishnu. So they were waiting for that moment. They struggled to get to that moment, but when that moment arose, it was kind of like, well, why didn't we plan for you? Lord Vishnu was telling us to just trust him, but exactly what we fear just happened is that the demons, their enemies, just grabbed the nectar and ran off with it.
Exactly what we thought.
It's like, why did we
That's what
put
makes them demons. They're selfish.
Right. Why didn't we put this plan into action? But you know what else happens with their selfishness?
What?
Is when we, and this is just part of how the world works, and wise people that can move just a little bit slower and be a little bit more thoughtful, a little bit more observant, or hear a little bit more clearly, they can recognize that when we act selfishly, we may set up, in one sense, theoretically, like capitalism, it says individuality is good, right? An individual endeavor is good, and an individual endeavor should be rewarded. And if someone's creative and if someone's willing to work hard, then they should get, then whatever they get, they've earned it. And that makes us better people. And you know what? There's half truth in it. Like there's a lot of,
Yeah.
there's definitely truth in it.
Meritocracy.
Yeah. And then like the left wing thing is more like, hey, we need to look out for each other. We're all in this together. We need to make sure that nobody is suffering and everybody's getting a share, and everyone has something to contribute, and it should all be equally recognized. And there's some truth in that, but there's also problems with that too, you know. So, but part of what we see here is this idea that if selfishness is our like default, right? Like if we actually don't think about the welfare of others, whatever system you're living in, right? If you don't think about the welfare of others, what it means is that conflict will develop, and that conflict will eat everybody up. Everybody suffers because of it. We're forced. There's, Bhagavad Gita is telling us how Krishna, who's dear to Krishna, the person that can move through this world without causing a disturbance to the minds of anyone else. He says, "Oh, that person's dear to me." That someone that's sensitive, that they're not thinking, this trinata pisuni chena. I can be tolerant. I can be humble, and I can think of the welfare of others before I think of my own. That's the formula for a peaceful mind that can become deeply absorbed in spirituality. If we don't learn to think that way, if we think, no, all that's nonsense, there is no center to this universe, there is no one being that's beyond me, or that is the root of all this, that we revolve around. No, as far as I can make this world revolve around me, to that extent, I'll enjoy this world, and I have every right to do that. That mentality leads to conflict. And so now that the demons have ran off with the nectar, there's going to be a conflict in their community. And Vishnu's going to say, I've been telling you all along, just wait this out. Yeah. But they're going to start to fight with each other, and everything's going to open up. So that's what we're picking up today.
It's the lack of that faith in the greater plan is a sign of almost like atheism.
Yeah.
We have to understand, like, even these reversals, they're meant for something very, very big, much bigger than I can see. And when I don't believe that, it's a sign that I just don't have faith that there's a benevolent God.
Seeing Krishna's hand in everything. It's
Seeing
one of our
Krishna's
rules.
hand in everything.
Yeah.
one of our pilgrim instructions, pilgrimage instructions.
Yeah.
From Sachinanda.
And it's, in one sense, his life is one pilgrimage, right?
Sure.
All right.
It can be. It has the opportunity to be.
That's right.
Doesn't have to be.
It could be a secret
Could be a
pilgrimage.
secret
But we
pilgrimage.
couldn't talk about that. But we
I'm
could
on one right. I'm on one right now, but I can't say anything about it.
Okay. All right. You want to get into it? Text 37?
Yes. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who always desires to fulfill the ambitions of his devotees, saw that the demigods were morose, he said to them, "Do not be aggrieved. By my own energy, I shall bewilder the demons by creating a quarrel among them. In this way, I shall fulfill your desire to have the nectar."
Oh, yeah. So just in this verse alone, there's so much. You know, when you meet those saints, like you met this Uddhava Baba, you know, these kind of saints, they could take this one verse, just pick it apart, speak in depth on it, you know, because it says, Bhagavan Britya Kama Krit. It's saying that Bhagavan, that personal form, we're talking about that personal side, with that, all of that spirituality, without that personal, beautiful side, you know, it has no deep appeal. But here it's saying that Bhagavan, that root being who possesses all the qualities that we find attractive, who's the origin of those qualities, that his nature is not aloof from us or selfish, self-centered. It's actually quite the opposite. It's Britya Kama Krit. He's always ready, eager to fulfill the desires, not his own, of others. You know, we see Krishna, he's decorated, he's got jewels on, he's got, you know, all kinds of beautiful silken cloth, and it's surrounded by opulence. But really, you know, he's possessing all that opulence to please his devotees. You know, it's like it's not for himself. So this is his mind, this is his heart, that he's eager to, those devas, he knows they've been working for him. And it's not like they even have to go and beg. He's eager to satisfy them. He's like saying, "You just wait. You know, I'm going to satisfy you." And he says that He says that I'll execute this. I'm going to take care of you. And he says, "Svamayaya, by my own energies. My energies are at work. Don't worry. You're looking at me and saying, do something about it. And I don't look like I'm getting busy. But I have my energies are working." And Krishna has these energies, and those energies too kind of cause us to conflict with one another. You know, when we're thinking in ways, when our thoughts are bent or warped in such ways that we become deeply selfish, then Krishna's energies have a way to create the kind of conflict through which we begin to lose faith in our own ability to stake our claim of this world, right? Prabhupada used to give this example, that when he was in school, his British teachers had some bizarre kind of disciplinary thing that they did, where he said if two kids were fighting with one another, like they started a conflict, then he would make them come up to the front of the room. You remember hearing this?
No.
And he would make each kid grab the ears of the other kid.
Oh.
And then tell them they had to pull on each other's ears, right? Like until they hurt each other, which is, I don't think that would go over well in an American
Nowadays.
class. But there is something interesting illustrated out of it. It's that, like, look, you're both selfish. You're not thinking of the others, and what you're doing is you're just hurting each other. And to everyone else, it's almost comical, right? It's like you're making fools of yourself when you're in conflict with one another, fighting one another, hurting one another. You just haven't understood how to move through this world, you know, and in one sense, you're the fool. So we're about to see these powerful, influential, demonic beings make fools of themselves, make complete fools of themselves, all by Krishna's energy. And Krishna's energy is going to manifest in a most stunning and bewildering way.
I'm so glad we're not in America right now. It's like Kali Yuga is like kicking in full force back there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad we're here, hearing the Bhagavad Gita. I'm talking about eternal truths. Not like we're free from pain or suffering or disasters or calamities, We're just keeping the main thing the main thing.
There you go.
And I think America, there's almost like a storm right now, a hurricane of media that will cause hate. And I'm not really aware of it because I'm really not scrolling. I really don't have time for it. But it's something when you're in America, you can't help but being responsible and checking up on things. There's so much hate energy out there right now in the
Yeah,
political sphere.
each side wants to win the election, not just because they think it'll make for better government, but because they want to see the other side suffer like crazy.
Like suffer and they hate, seething hatred for the other side. It's not like, well, you got a good point. Someone wrote me this message, like, anyway, we won't get into it, but it's one of these things. It's like, and everybody's mind and everybody's business. I'm so glad I'm not a part of it right now.
All right.
And I think our podcast is committed to keeping the main thing, the main thing.
It's one of our core values.
The main thing is to keep the main thing the main
Yeah, keep
thing.
the
And the
main
main
thing
thing is Shri Radha Krishna at the core, or in the core of my heart,
Oh.
in the core of every living entity's
Was
heart.
that part of the secret?
Can't tell you.
But
I'd say that. He's like, Ixnay on the secret say. Ixnay.
I can pull this secret out of you so quick. You think you got it in the vault there? Your vault is like got like the weakest
Like a
little lock.
shoebox. You'll never know.
All right.
Anyway, yeah. Keep the main thing the main thing.
All right. Why don't we keep number 30, text 38, the main thing right now?
Text 38. O king, a quarrel then arose amongst the demons over who would get the nectar first. So it's not like, do I just want it from the other guys? Now it's like on my side.
Yeah.
Now I want. And that's the problem with the demoniac thoughts.
Yeah.
It's me first and the gimmies.
I think it was Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commented on this verse, and he said, some of them are saying, I should be able to drink first because I'm from a good family.
Gotcha.
And the others are saying, no. Your family's not good. My family's good. I have the birthright to drinking this nectar first.
Right. It's getting real material.
Yeah.
Based on bodily designations, birth, social status in our births.
Yeah.
Now, as everyone has an equal right to partake in any public sacrifice, according to the eternal religious system.
Did you read that part? Some of the demons said.
Oh, I'm sorry. Some of the demons said, all the demigods have taken part in the churning of the ocean. Now, as everyone has an equal right to partake in any public sacrifice, according to the eternal religious system, it is befitting that the demigods now have a share of the nectar.
So some of the demons are actually willing to cooperate.
Quite
with it.
liberal.
Yeah.
O king, in this way, the weaker demons forbade the stronger demons to take the nectar. By the way, in the background, you guys probably can't hear it because of our high quality microphones. It is becoming like a Diwali like explosion after explosion.
It's 4th of July over here.
Yeah.
All right.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who can counteract any unfavorable situation, then assume the form of an extremely beautiful woman.
So this is when Krishna said, by my energies, Svamayaya, I'm going to take care of everything. He can just
Shapeshift.
well, I don't think he shape shifted. He just like he expanded from, like Vishnu didn't turn into a woman, but he
didn't.
but his energy did.
I don't get it. But I thought he turned into a woman. But
Well, no, in other words, I'm going to say like Vishnu was still there.
well, yes.
It's not that form of Vishnu in front of them turned into a woman, but he turned into a woman and maintained that form at the same time. So there
Well,
are two Vishnu forms.
It's one of those classics. Sometimes a beautiful woman or man, but mainly women, can get away with murder.
Okay.
They could just if they could be so captivating that great, intelligent, philosophical people will just forget all of their intelligence and do something against their own personal integrity or values.
All right.
Do you know the greatest thinker in all of Europe, Goethe? We quote often.
Occasionally.
Deep thinker, same thing. In his old age, like he fell in love with a teenager.
Okay.
It's one of these things. It's just like it's It's not your intelligence that's going to protect you from Maya.
Right.
It's it's Lord Krishna's going to protect you from Maya. And so here are these demons, and all of a sudden, how do you fool a demon? Turn into the most beautiful woman you could ever imagine, and there the demons just went,
Please
their
keep
jaw
it.
dropped, right? This incarnation as a woman, Mohini Murti, right? The Murti is the form of Mohini, of feminine illusion.
A bewildering form.
It was most pleasing to the mind. Her complexion resembled in color a newly grown blackish lotus.
Blackish lotus.
And every part of her body was beautifully situated. Sounds like there's an absolute type of beauty here. Her ears were equally decorated with earrings. Her cheeks were very beautiful. Her nose was raised, and her face was full of youthful luster. Her large breasts made her waist seem thin. Attracted by the aroma of her face and body, bumblebees hummed around her, and thus her eyes were restless. Her hair, which was extremely beautiful, was garlanded with malika flowers. Her attractively constructed neck was decorated with a necklace and other ornaments, and her arms were decorated with bangles. Her body was covered with a clean sari, and her breasts seemed like islands in an ocean of beauty. Her legs.
Okay, pregnant pause there. I was like,
I was trying to picture the breasts of the Lord, not of a woman, of the Lord.
Okay.
Thank you. I don't know where your mind goes. I'm in deep meditation here.
Of course.
Her legs were decorated with ankle bells because of the movements of her eyebrows as she smiled with shyness and glanced over the demons. All the demons were saturated with lusty desires, and every one of them desired to possess her.
They were all so powerful. They had all worked so hard to get to this goal. And in a minute, they can just lose it because they became confused by the material energy, right? Or by, let's say, external energy.
You know, it's interesting. And that was sort of like the pleasure when boys hang out with boys and girls hang out with girls, generally speaking. There was sort of like an ease of like the ego sort of drops sort of often. I remember just even in jujitsu, if there was like generally all the guys, back when I did jujitsu, it was a very, very male thing. Now I think it's more females in it, but there was practically no women. And then all of a sudden, like one woman shows up at class and all your bros act differently. They're all just take on a different role. They're almost like pathetically trying to impress her. And this is what's going on right now. Here, they're all a team. They're a team of demons, a demon rugby team. And they're churning back and forth and back and forth. We're going to crush those demigods. And all of a sudden, a beautiful woman walks in, and now they're going to fight amongst themselves. Huh? Oh, she should be mine. She should be mine. Look at me. Look at me.
Yeah. She's going to solve the whole situation, too. Shall we move on to the next chapter?
Yep.
So that was the end of chapter 8. Now we're going to chapter 9. The Lord incarnates
as Mohini Murti. Do you know anyone devotee named Mohini Murti?
Mohini Murti. It sounds familiar.
I don't know anybody.
They definitely look like Mohini this or that.
Mohini something.
Yeah. Okay.
Sukadeva Goswami said, thereafter the demons became inimical towards one another. Throwing and snatching the container of nectar, they gave up their friendly relationship. Meanwhile, they saw a very beautiful young woman coming forward toward them. Upon seeing the beautiful woman, the demon said, alas, how wonderful is her beauty, how wonderful is the luster of her body, and how wonderful the beauty of her youthful age. Speaking in this way, they quickly approached her, full of lusty desires to enjoy her, and began to inquire for her in many ways. Oh, wonderfully beautiful girl. You have such nice eyes, resembling the petals of a lotus flower. Who are you?
Were they from California?
Where do you come from?
How did you get here?
What is your
I
purpose?
I
took the 405 South and got off of Melrose and get out of here. What is your purpose in coming here, and to whom do you belong? Of you, whose thighs are extraordinarily beautiful, Our minds are becoming agitated simply because of seeing you. It's pathetic, huh?
Yeah, it is
Like
pathetic.
a dancing dog.
Yeah.
What to speak of human beings, even the demigods, demons, siddhas, Gandharvas, charanas, and the various directors of the universe, the Prajapatis, have never touched you before. It is not that we are unable to understand you. It is not that we are unable to understand your identity. Oh, beautiful girl with beautiful eyebrows. Certainly Providence, by his causeless mercy, has sent you to please the senses and the minds of all of us. Is this not a fact? We are now all engaged in enmity amongst ourselves because of this one subject matter, the container of nectar. Although we have been born in the same family, we are becoming increasingly inimical. Oh, thin-waisted woman, who are so beautiful in your prestigious position. We therefore request you to favor us by settling our dispute.
So they handed over all their power to her
Huh,
on the spot.
sound familiar?
Okay.
Having thus
All of us.
all of us, both demons and demigods, have been born of the same. Never read that.
I don't think so.
All of us, both demons and demigods, have been born with the same father, Kashyapa, and thus we are related as brothers. But now we are exhibiting our personal prowess in dissension. Therefore, we request you to settle our dispute and divide the nectar equally among us.
Okay.
Okay, that seems, like a mediator. They chose the wrong mediator.
Mhm.
Having thus been requested by the demons, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who assumed the form of a beautiful woman, began to smile. Ooh, that's when the trouble starts.
Mm.
When they smile at you. Hey. Laugh at your joke. Oh. Looking at them with attractive feminine gestures. What do you think that means, Gustavo? Can you do a feminine gesture?
No.
Come
Actually, I'm
on.
unable to.
She spoke as follows. Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of Mohini told the demons, "Oh, sons of Kashyapa Muni, I am only a prostitute. How is that you have so much faith in me? A learned person never puts his faith in a woman like me. Oh, demons, as monkeys, jackals, and dogs are unsteady in their sexual relationships and want newer and newer friends every day, women who live independently seek new friends daily. Friendship with such a woman is never permanent. This is the opinion of learned scholars." I'm trying to embody.
No, you're doing a good job.
evolve.
You're doing
Thank
good.
you.
It's just interesting that she's kind of just telling them right to their face that you can't trust me.
Yeah. Don't trust me.
Don't trust me.
Yeah. And they're not going to listen to her.
Nope.
Well, the glitters is not gold, demons.
Sri Shukadev Goswami continued.
After the demons heard the words of Mohini Murti, who had spoken as if jokingly, they were all very confident. They laughed with gravity, and ultimately, they delivered the container of nectar into her hands. Thereafter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, having taken possession of the container of nectar, smiled slightly and spoke in an attractive words. She said, "My dear demons, if you accept whatever I may do, whether honest or dishonest, then I can take responsibility for dividing the nectar amongst you. You gonna do that? You gonna listen to me?" The chief of the demons were not very expert in deciding things. Upon hearing the sweet words of Mohini Murti, they immediately assented, "Oh, yes, yes, of course. What you have said is all right." Thus, the demons agreed to accept her decision. So funny how the Lord manifests these pastimes. He doesn't have to. He could just say, nectar, going to the demigods. But this whole push and pull and tug is meant not just to bring out things like the Kanstuba gem and Lakshmi and the nectar, but actually deep philosophical truths are pouring out of this like push and pull, huh?
Yeah,
There's churning. We're learning so much.
there's so much to learn. It's didactic in that sense. It teaches something,
Yeah.
and it's also his play.
His charming story, which
Yeah.
you're like, uh-oh, you're worried, you're excited, you're fearful. Oh, here comes the Lord. Oh, it's so tricky. The demigods and demons observed the fast. After bathing, they offered clarified butter and oblations into the fire and gave charity to the cows and the Brahmins and members of the other orders, namely the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Sudras, and who were all rewarded as they deserved. Interesting, though, as much of demons as they are, they're doing all these Vedic rituals.
They understand something about how the universe operates.
Right. That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily because they're great guys. It's just
They wanna
understand
manipulate
the
it.
the deeper ways the universe works, and they want to manipulate it.
Yeah.
I basically repeated exactly what you said, but in a sort of choppy way. Thereafter, the demigods and demons perform ritualistic ceremonies under the directions of the Brahmins. Then they dressed themselves with new garments according to their own choice, decorated their bodies with ornaments, and sat facing east on seats made of kusha grass.
They're probably all thinking that they were going to attract her.
Yeah. O king, as the demigods and demons sat facing east in the arena, fully decorated with flower garlands and lamps and fragrant with the smoke of incense, that woman, dressed in most beautiful sari, her ankle bells tinkling, entered the arena, walking very slowly because of her big, low hips. Her eyes were restless due to youthful pride. Her breasts were like water jugs, and her thighs resembled the trunks of elephants. And she carried a water pot in each hand. Her attractive nose and cheeks and her ears, adorned with golden earrings, made her face very beautiful. And as she moved, her sari's border on her breast moved slightly sighed. When the demigods and the demons saw these beautiful features of Mohini Murti, who was glancing at them and slightly smiling, they were all completely enchanted. Demons are by nature crooked like snakes. Therefore, to distribute a share of the nectar to them was not at all feasible, since it would be as dangerous as supplying milk to a snake. Considering this, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who never falls down, did not deliver a share of nectar to the demons. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mohini Murti, the master of the universe, arranged separate lines of sitting places and seated the demigods and demons according to their positions.
It's interesting that the demons, they have a lot of confidence in their own ability, and they're convinced that they can achieve their goal by their own strength. And the devas are like, we're just completely dependent on Vishnu in this one. You know, we've shown that we don't have the strength to accomplish our goal. We're simply following what he says, you know, and having faith that the results will be good. And so the demon, but the demons, they don't know how weak they actually are.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know that they're actually how dependent they are. And so effortlessly, I mean, he didn't even fight to get this nectar back from them. He just said, give it to me. Oh, by the way, you can't trust me, but give it to me.
All right. Sure. Here you go.
And their weakness was exposed, you know.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Mohini Murti, the master of the universe, arranged separate lines of sitting, places and seated the demigods and demons according to their positions. Taking the container of nectar in her hands, she approached the demons, satisfied them with sweet words, and thus cheated them out of their share of the nectar. Then she administered the nectar to the demigods who were sitting at a distant place to make them free from invalidity, old age, and death. What a nectar, huh? Talk about a superfood.
It's stuff.
Sort of like those medicinal
Moringa?
mushrooms.
Like moringa.
It's like moringa. It's like reishi. It's like a lion's mane.
Pomegranate juice.
Pomegranate. Or what? You know what we had yesterday? That's amla.
Oh yeah.
Soaked in
Sugar?
Sugar. So it wasn't sour at all.
World's richest source of vitamin C.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or why don't we stop here?
Okay.
I
I'm
was very interested to see what will happen next.
Mara. Hello, Miss Mara. How was your day today?
It's good, thanks.
Any secrets?
Time to do your job, Miss Mara. Here. Yeah, I'm going to move over next to Kastuba real close.
Hey.
There we go.
The beauty of the divine is everywhere in Vrindavan.
Oh, yeah. You just got to have the lens. Got to wear the proper googles.
Goggles.
That's what the old sadhu said. He called them googles. It's very cute.
Prabhupada set the gold standard for temples and worship.
Boomba.
The beauty and charm is all connected to God.
Yeah.
Trust in God and work with your enemies.
Sometimes you have to.
Sometimes.
Selfishness brings conflict and suffering.
Yeah.
See Krishna's hand in everything.
See Krishna Govinda Hari Murari.
The Devas understand their dependence on Vishnu.
And the demons don't.
Yeah.
When you're in conflict with others, you're the fool.
True.
Mohini Murti even tells the demons not to trust her.
Don't trust me.
Yet they do.
They
I'm
do.
too sexy for you. You'll lose your intelligence. I trust you.
And
I trust. I said, don't trust me.
and Raghu's got a secret sadhana.
Ah,
He's desperate to tell us about.
You're good.
I wonder if that's like part of like the, when you get some secret, like, do we have like histories and shashtras of people that got some kind of secret practice and they went around telling everybody that they got the secret?
You're not supposed
But
to.
no, even telling them that they got the secret, maybe not revealing the secret.
You think that's a bad thing you're saying?
I think it may not be a good thing to do.
I didn't tell her.
You mis- Is that what
What do you think, Bananadini? Did I blow it already? Did I lose the potency already?
Only 50%.
Bono. Radhe. Okay, everybody, we're out. Beautiful day, beautiful day. Magic time. Haribo!